I always wanted to ask you one thing. It's completely different subjects. Can I ask you as well?
Anything, whatever you want.
When you're doing interviews at the end of fights, did you ever feel threatened somehow?
No.
Like at least once.
No. One thing that I hope the fighters realize is that what I'm trying to do is only get them to express themselves. I want them to shine. I really genuinely want them. They won this big fight. I want them to express themselves. I want them to maybe maximize their marketing, their marketability, and just like tell the world how they feel. Like that's an incredibly unusual experience to win a big fight in the cage on pay-per-view in front of millions of people. My goal is only to try to get them to communicate better and to let them know that I'm there to support them. That's all I'm ever trying to do.
Perfect.
You know?
Yeah. Like I was saying before we started talking, that I have a lot of friends in MMA. Sweetest guys
Nicest
ever.
people.
Yeah.
And you consider what they do for a living. It's crazy.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Damian, Vanderlei, Ninja, Shogun, they are all...
How is Ninja doing these days?
Man, last time I talked to him, he got some. I don't know if it was because of the fighting. I cannot say that, but his speech, it's a little slow.
Yeah.
It is already hard to understand. Even Shogun, they have this what they call the Juanese, which is the way of speaking. They come from this state which is very hard to understand what they say.
They're from Curitiba, right?
Yeah, from Curitiba. And people from Curitiba, sometimes when they speak too fast, you don't understand that much. But Ninja, I think he got some injuries and got some scars in his head. I think he got some surgeries. And
I think he had surgery on his
He was fighting
head.
at the time. People were kicking people in the head,
soccer
man.
kicking.
Soccer kicking, bro.
And he was one of the best.
He was good.
Yeah, he was an animal.
So good.
And he was really young, too.
And at the end, he was like getting knocked out with slaps.
Yeah, that's the scariest thing is when you see their chin go. When their ability to take a punch. What's crazy is Shogun seems to be making a resurgence.
It's crazy.
Amazing.
I used to be very good friends with one of his coaches. And after the fight with Anderson, the first one, which was like a
crazy
war. Remember
fight.
that fucking
Chaos.
That was a chaos. And I was talking to him and he was like, you don't even imagine how talented this guy is. But he got to focus. If he was focused, he would kick his ass in like fucking 2 minutes. So that's the way they do it in the shuchi box. They like to fight. They like to fucking just go at it.
Yeah.
Him and Cyborg and Vanderlei and even Anderson, the same thing. But the way they do it, it's just like, let's go to war.
Yeah.
And sometimes the game changed.
Yeah.
But Shogun is like learning. You can see that he's like improving, still improving. And like, I think he was like 36, 35.
Well, his last fight, he looked sensational.
Yeah, man.
I mean, he looked like a fucking killer, too.
It's crazy, huh?
He can take a shot again now. It's weird. It's like, I mean, he got knocked out by a few different guys, and he's lost some fights, some tough fights. But his last fight, he looked as good as he's looked in years.
It's sad for me when I see like I don't know why it's always with Brazilians, but when I see like an old fighter getting his ass kicked too quick.
Yep.
I remember his fight with Sonnen. That was.
Yeah, well, he got caught in a guillotine.
He got caught in a guillotine, but he's fast. The guy trained for like 6 months, and that's very frustrating. Remember when Royce went back to fight with Hughes? That was like, oh my God.
Well, Matt Hughes was in his prime then, and he was so strong, and Royce just wasn't. He wasn't physically capable.
Couldn't do it, right?
He didn't look the same. He just didn't look like he was physically capable the same way. And Matt Hughes is fucking talented, unbelievably talented. And when he got on top of Royce and he was smashing him, I was like, it's hard to watch.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah. But that's the life. I mean, that is the life they chose. When Chuck Liddell just got knocked out by Tito Ortiz, that was hard to watch because you could tell he just can't take a punch anymore.
I wasn't that fight. I went there to watch it. It was bad. It wasn't good.
Wasn't moving right either. The thing about when fighters take a lot of knockout losses, one of the things that's becomes apparent is their balance looks off and their movement doesn't look the same. Like their neurology, their body doesn't move the same way. It's not the same.
Yeah. It can look the same, but doesn't react the same, right?
Right. I mean, even Anderson, when he lost to Stylebender, I think Stylebender would have been a tough fight for him at any point in his career, because Stylebender is just fantastic, super technical. But Anderson looked like he was a step behind the Anderson of old, like the Anderson that knocked out Vitor, or the Anderson that, you go back to the early days, the Anderson that knocked out Chael Sonnen.
Yeah.
I mean, that Anderson was he was just an assassin.
Yeah.
He was so good. He just knew what to do and when to do it. And when the Stylebender fight, he just looked like he was a little off. But he's also 46, I think.
I think he's 1 year older than me, 43.
He's only 43?
Yeah, we did a show together. We do this show on Netflix called Ultimate Beastmaster, which is...
Brazilian Netflix?
No, it's here as well. Terry Crews did an American... We do like all hosts from different countries, and we meet, and it's like American Ninja Warrior for Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And we have like hosts from different countries, and we have the Brazilians and the Italians and the French guys, and I did this show with Anderson. He's a sweet guy.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
I mean, he's one of the all-time greats. I mean, I had the honor of calling a lot of his fights.
And it's crazy because, and it's crazy when you're talking about the guys getting older. I remember I talked with Minotauro. He was like 3 or 4. It was like two fights after he actually retired, and I asked him, why you keep doing it? You don't have to. You don't have to prove anything to no one. And what he said to me, I think was so fair. He was like, I fought when this thing wasn't giving me any money.
Right.
So just let me lose a fight or two and get some money at the end of my career, because I deserve that.
Right.
He wasn't like, of course he was going there to win, but it's like, I want to take the risk.
Yeah.
Because I was fighting in Japan getting, I don't know, $5,000. And now that the game, it's like bringing you so much money, I'm going to retire. Let me just do a couple more.
Well, Minotauro, not only was he a pioneer and one of the great MMA heavyweights of all time, but he's so important for MMA because he showed that heavyweights can fight off their back. And that heavyweights could win by triangle, like when he triangled Mark Coleman and was tapping guys with arm bars when he beat Bob Sapp.
Yeah, that was
the
huge.
Bob Sapp one is fucking crazy. That is one of the greatest MMA fights in the history of the sport. 375-pound Bob Sapp.
Crazy.
Minotauro only probably weighed 230, and he wound up tapping him with an arm bar. It was fucking crazy. And after he gets spiked on his head, which still apparently fucks with him to this day. His neck was fucked up permanently
because of that?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
375-pound guy who doesn't even look like a human. He looked like a comic book hero.
Yeah.
And he smashes him on his head. And Minotauro recovered, and I mean, he was one of the toughest guys of all time.
Yeah.
But
he was run by a truck when he was a little kid.
That's that scar on the side.
He was run by a truck.
Crazy, yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, he's one of the most important figures in the history of the sport. And then I think Fabricio took it to another level, because Fabricio Werdum probably has the best guard in the history of the sport. It's history of the heavyweight division. I mean, when he caught Fedor, when he had him in his triangle and he had him locked up like that, you don't get away with that guy. Like you might get out of some people's guard, not Fabricio. That motherfucker locks people up.
And I gotta thank him. I'm here just because of him.
Yeah.
He helped me with that.
Well,
Thanks, Fabricio.
My respect for him, when he reached out to me, it was like, okay, I'll get your friend on, 100%.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And he is a great guy, and that's what that's why I asked you if you kind of feel threatened, because when people they're in a fight, and you don't know what is going to happen.
Right.
And when you go over there to talk with one, you can say a wrong thing at the wrong. I don't know, or maybe
you can make mistakes. For sure.
Make mistakes,
but my intention is always to make them look good. That's all I'm trying to do.
Okay.
All I'm trying to do is just get them to express themselves and also put some emotion to how great their performance was.
Perfect.
Yeah, but it's a weird job, to also be a comedian. It's a strange combination of things,
two. Yeah. Do they go watch you sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's very good.